just want to tell y'all thank y'all, and we got it going on. And we have it going on because of people like Miss Wallace.
First of all, I just want to say how blessed I am to be here today, but I have one question. Does anybody know the slope of a vertical line? Once a teacher, always a teacher. I am just so blessed to be here today. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Teachers often never see the fruits of their labor. But when I see young people, and some not so young, who have gone on to do great things, then that empowers me. And, you know, I just left church, and the thing about it is, I know what God has called me to do. And I love teaching. I still work with youngsters. In fact, that's how she got my number, from the St. Aug secretary. But it's just a blessing to be here. How many educators do we have in the house? Raise your hand high. Stand up. And we need to honor your classmates and my colleagues, because education is an honorable profession.
Yes, it is.
What has happened to me since I left Kennedy High School? First of all, I left Kennedy High School in 1988, and I had a group of freshmen and some Algebra 2 youngsters who told me I left them. But I was called to central office. With that out, I didn't know what I was doing. But anyway, I know that was, God was ordering my steps. I was called to central office. Then they sent me back to the classroom at Carver High School, but that was good. I then went on sabbatical, went to the University of New Orleans, and I am Dr. Wallace. I have a PhD. So I've done anything there is to do in education, people, I've done it. I've done it. I've even substituted. And I am currently retired. In December, I will celebrate 5 years of retirement, and I'm enjoying that. But I have not retired from giving into young people's lives, because it is a blessing. And I want to thank Tanya for that. She, you know, I work at St. Augustine as a consultant, working with teachers and young people. Even substituted for like a quarter in physics and pre-cal. And I will tell you this, when they had the first quarter report cards, I had the longest line. All the parents, because the young man just thought I was a sub. And I was, you know, I was just, who is she? And didn't want to do homework, you know, that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, I thank you for inviting me, and that honors us. That honors us as educators, that you remember, if it was some good things or some not so good things, you know. And so we remember some of you who were challenging. I don't use that word bad, and educators don't use that. Challenging. Because there are some challenges. And I used to go home sometimes and say, Lord, help me to get over to my young people. So I love Kennedy High School. I spent the longest time at any one place at Kennedy High School. I did. I really did. I spent the longest time in my career any place at Kennedy High School. It was a blessing, and I'm honored to be here, and just want to wish all of you the best, and that you will continue to go on and do great things and honor God in your life and be the best that God calls you to be. I love all of you.
Thank you. To come right behind her, I see who we were looking for earlier. We have a classmate here who graduated with us, Adrienell Boyd, who also taught at Kennedy. She's going to come up and talk to us. Well, we just want you to say a few words about going back.
Going back to Kennedy.
I had the privilege of going back to Kennedy in 1994 for my first year teaching. I was very excited, yet the kids were very different. They were nothing like us.
Thank God.
And when I say that, there was not that Cougar pride, that unity, and I would always talk about Kennedy and my days, and they could not believe that I was that old, but it didn't really matter. the love that I had for Kennedy, I put out into my students. And I tried to bring back some of the things that we had, but it just did not always work. I never gave up though, and I stayed there for 8 years. And I left in 2004 because I went on to become a school administrator. And everything was completely different. So to be here now, I feel really proud that I went to Kennedy and I still represent Kennedy. Just the other night, Friday night, I saw one of my former students, and he's like, "Miss Boyd?" And I'm like, "Yes." And so it was like, "What are you doing here?" I said, 25-year class reunion. And he's like, "Well, I'm 33 years old." I was like, "Whoa." So I was like, "Well, how could that be possible? I'm just 35. So everywhere I go, I run across kids, and I talk about Kennedy, and I drive by the building. I still do, and it breaks my heart because I want to break in and steal that cougar that was by the auditorium. But I don't know if it's still there, but I miss it, but I loved it, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And it did break my heart sometimes because the things that we had, they weren't there. I did get the privilege to teach with some former teachers that we tried to find. Miss Rivers, Mr. McCullum, Dr. Lemoyne, we all know Dr. Lemoyne, Mr. Rogers.
Beautiful.
So I tried to find them, and it was very difficult. And Mr. Pacio, I learned just last week, is in Alexandria, is our principal. But just to let you know, it was out there to try to find everybody, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I love it, and I would do it again if they would open the doors.